All right, so we've got this awesome breakdown of the BMW 2 Series someone sent us,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking we should try to cover its whole journey,
Oh, definitely.
from how it got started to like what's out there globally right now.
Yeah, like really get into each model.
Exactly, exactly. So anyone listening can get like the quick version of this whole 2 Series
Out of
thing
the way.
from, its sporty beginnings to, well, all those different options they have going on now.
It's a fascinating story,
Yeah.
really. To get the full picture of the 2 Series,
Yeah.
we kind of got to go back to the beginning, you
Oh,
know?
back to the 1 Series.
Exactly. The 1 Series, that's where it all kind of started.
Hmm.
And then we'll see how the 2 Series branched out, became its own thing.
Okay.
Then we can go through all the generations and body styles, right?
All those coupes and convertibles.
Yeah, the coupes and convertibles. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the Gran Coupe.
Oh, and don't forget the active tourer.
Right. The Active Tour, yeah, which is surprisingly versatile.
For sure. Okay, so for each of those, I figure we got to hit the main design stuff.
Of course, the design is key.
What engines they've got under the hood.
Absolutely.
And then, really importantly, where you can actually find these cars.
Right, the global picture.
It's actually kind of wild how different the 2 Series story is in, say, Europe versus North America, India, or Australia.
Each region has its own preferences.
Yeah, and we'll definitely point out some of the less obvious things, like how the first generation was all about rear-wheel drive, even in a hatchback.
It was unusual for that segment.
Right, like that's not what you usually see in hatchbacks.
No, not at all.
And then, the Gran Coupe later switching over to front-wheel drive.
Yeah, to get more space inside.
Exactly. Okay, so the 1 Series, like, where should we start?
Well, I think the initial 1 Series, the E81, E82, E87, and E88.
Those are the early ones, right?
Yeah, those really set the stage for everything that came after. And what's really interesting about those is BMW decided to stick with rear-wheel drive
Across all of them.
across all of them, even the hatchbacks, which, as we said, was kind of unusual for that class of car.
Definitely.
Gave it a different feel.
More sporty.
Way more sporty, yeah, and engaging compared to most of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Made them feel more premium, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Kind of like those older, smaller 3 Series models, if you remember those.
Okay, then what?
So fast forward to 2013,
Yeah.
right? Second generation 1 Series comes out, the F20 and F21.
Mm-hmm.
And BMW makes this, I think, pretty smart move.
Oh, did they do?
They split off the coupe and convertible models.
Yeah.
Gave them their own name, the 2 Series.
Right, the F22 and F23.
Exactly.
Okay, so then these first real 2 Series cars, the F22 Coupe and the F23 Convertible, they really went all in on that sporty vibe.
Oh, absolutely.
So the Coupe came out in 2014, right?
That's right.
Low, sleek design, rear-wheel drive, and a whole bunch of great turbocharged engines.
They even started using those 3-cylinder engines a bit later.
Right, for efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can't forget the M235i. Oh, yeah.
Which later turned into the M240i.
Even more power, right?
Yeah.
And then the convertible showed up in 2015,
Same platform, same engine.
but with the open top,
Yeah, that's the big difference.
The wind in your hair cruising along.
Exactly. Appealing to a whole other kind of driver.
Sure, for sure.
Someone who wants that premium feel, but also like that open air experience.
Right, especially on those twisty roads.
Okay, so then BMW drops the high performance M2
Yes, the F87.
based on the coupe, but cranked up to 11, right?
Basically, yeah.
With the N55 engine.
Yeah.
And then later they put in the S55 for the M2 competition.
Oh, yeah. That thing was a beast.
Serious track focus car.
For sure.
And those limited edition M2 CS versions.
Oh, man, those are something else.
Talk about focus performance.
Right.
Really solidified the 2 Series reputation as a true driver's car.
Yeah, in a compact package.
But then they went in a completely different direction with the Gran Coupe.
The F44.
Yeah, in 2019. What was the idea behind that? Well, I think they wanted to appeal to a wider audience.
Okay.
So they went with a 4-door sedan.
More practical.
Way more practical, yeah.
Okay.
They used a front-wheel drive platform for that one, the UKL2.
Which is shared with the F41 series, right?
That's right. And the thing about front-wheel drive is it usually gives you more space inside.
With the same size car.
Exactly. So the idea was clearly to make it more practical, more comfortable for passengers.
Makes sense. So it was a direct competitor to, like, the Mercedes CLA.
Yeah, that kind of car.
Okay. And they still offered some pretty powerful engines.
Oh, yeah, they had the M235i X-Drive, the all-wheel drive version.
Right.
So you could still get that sporty feel if you wanted.
Okay, so then the second generation coupe came out in 2021.
The G42.
Yeah, and this one, they went back to rear-wheel drive.
Snaking to their roots.
And it uses the Clelli architecture now, right?
That's right. Shared with the 3 and 4 series.
And they moved production to Mexico.
Huh?
Interesting. Engine options are 220i, 230i, and the M240i xDrive.
But no manual option for the base or the M240i.
Yeah, I noticed that. And no convertible at launch either.
Interesting, right.
Makes you wonder.
It does. Could be a shift in the market, you know?
Uh-huh.
Maybe people aren't buying manuals as much anymore.
Or convertibles.
Yeah, or convertibles. Or maybe BMW is just focusing on the core coupe market for now.
And maybe the convertible will come later.
Could be. Could be.
All right, now for something completely different. The Active Tourer.
Ah, yes. The minivan of the BMW world.
So this first popped up in 2014.
BMW's first front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, and the second generation, the U06, stuck with that UKL2 platform.
All about space and versatility with this one.
It is. They've got petrol engines, diesel with mild hybrid tech, and even plug-in hybrids.
The 225e and 230e xDrive.
Yeah, with a decent electric range, too.
Not bad, right?
So looking at where you can buy these things, what strikes you?
Well, Europe has the most variety, for sure.
The whole spread.
Yeah, they've got the Coupe, the Gran Coupe, the Active Tourer, the whole shebang.
North America's mostly Coupe and Gran Coupe.
Pretty much, yeah.
India, it's just the Gran Coupe.
I guess sedans are really popular there.
Seems like it.
Australia, it's a mix of the Coupe and Gran Coupe.
So BMW is really tailoring their offerings to different parts of the world.
They are, which makes sense, right? Different markets, different needs.
Totally. And design-wise, they're all pretty distinctive, right?
Oh, yeah. The Coupe, it's classic sporty proportions.
Low slung.
Exactly. The Gran Coupe tries to blend that coupe-like look with 4 doors.
Make it a bit more practical.
Yeah, exactly. And the Active Tourer, well, it's taller, more boxy.
Got to get that space.
Got to maximize that space, right? And inside, most of them focus on the driver.
Yeah, that classic BMW cockpit feel.
And the newer ones are getting that curved display.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool feature.
It is. And then you've got trim levels like Sportline and M Sport.
So people can customize them to their liking.
Plenty of options there.
What do the experts say about all these cars?
Well, they generally like the Coupe's handling.
Makes
It's
sense.
that rear-wheel drive setup, you know?
They say the Gran Coupe's practical, but maybe not as fun to drive.
Not as sporty.
Yeah, not as sporty. And the Active Tourer, people like its comfort and space.
It is a very comfortable car.
It is. And across the board, the interior quality is generally seen as pretty high.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And the tech is good too, especially the Live Cockpit Professional.
But of course, they've got some serious competition.
Oh yeah, the Audi A3, the Mercedes CLA.
It's a tough segment.
It is.
That rear-wheel drive in the Coupe is a big selling point, though, right?
It is. A lot of its competitors are front-wheel drive now.
Makes it stand out.
It does.
And then you've got the Gran Coupe going head-to-head with the CLA.
Right.
And the Active Tourer. It kind of has its own niche, I guess.
Yeah, premium but practical.
Safety ratings are generally good across the board.
Yeah, they score well in Euro and CIBP testing.
And pricing, well, it depends on the model, the options, all that stuff.
And where you are in the world, of course.
So, looking at the whole 2 Series story, it's pretty impressive how it's evolved. It really is.
They've stayed true to their core values, sporty, driver-focused.
Yeah, for the most part.
But they've also adapted to the market.
Absolutely.
They've embraced front-wheel drive for some models.
Yeah, where it makes sense.
To prioritize space, efficiency.
Exactly. They're trying to cater to different kinds of drivers, different needs.
And different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
So within this one series, you've got everything from the rear-wheel drive thrills of the Coupe to the practicality of the Gran Coupe and the spaciousness of the Active Tourer.
Pretty diverse lineup.
It is. What I find really fascinating is how BMW has stuck to its guns with rear-wheel drive in some models.
Yeah, it's a big part of their heritage.
But they've also been willing to change things up.
To stay competitive.
Exactly. To meet the demands of the market.
It's a balancing act.
It is. So we've just scratched the surface here, haven't we?
We have. There's so much more to explore with the 2 Series.
So much. What are you most curious about after all this?
Well, that whole rear-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive thing, it's a debate that never really ends, does it?
No, it doesn't.
And how that plays out in the 2 Series, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, me too. And I'm always fascinated by the design choices.
Yeah, how they make each model look so distinctive.
Exactly. So if you're listening, this is just the starting point, really.
It is. Go
Yeah.
out there and do your own research, see what you discover.
There's a whole world of 2 Series to explore.
Absolutely.
I think we've given you a good place to start, though.
I hope so.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, happy driving.
Happy driving.